3 years ago, he was earning $200 a month guarding empty buildings. Today, he's worth millions and making batsmen around the world look foolish. This is how a barefoot boy with fruit for cricket balls became the West Indies' most feared weapon. Stick around till the end. You won't believe what happened when he bowled to the world's best batsman on his very first ball. A place so remote that delivery trucks can't find it. No pizza delivery, no Uber, no cell phone towers. Just 300 people, wooden houses and trees everywhere you look. This is Baracara, Guyana, and it's where our story begins. Here's what's crazy. Most kids born here never leave. They grow up, learn to fish, cut trees, maybe start a family. That's it. That's the whole life. No one dreams of playing sports on TV because they don't even have proper TV. But one boy was different. Shamar Joseph had fire in his eyes from day one. While other kids played normal games, he was throwing anything round-shaped at 3 sticks in the ground. His family thought he was weird. His friends laughed at him. But something inside him wouldn't quit. Want to know the wildest part? He learned cricket from a broken radio. Static-filled voices talking about matches happening thousands of miles away. He couldn't even see what cricket looked like, he just imagined it, and somehow that imagination was enough to start a journey that would shock the world. The village had no electricity most days. When the generator worked for a few hours, everyone gathered around the one TV. But Shamar was outside practicing with mangoes and an empty bottle. People said he was wasting time. They had no idea he was building a future. His grandmother watched him from her porch, never saying much, but sometimes she'd nod when he hit all 3 sticks. Years later, Shamar said those little nods kept him going when everyone else thought he was crazy. Here's something that'll blow your mind. Shamar played cricket for 10 years without ever touching a real cricket ball. Think about that. Imagine learning to drive without ever seeing a car. His cricket bat, a piece of wood he carved himself with broken glass. His cricket ball, whatever fruit he could find, mangoes, oranges, sometimes just rocks wrapped in cloth. His stumps, 3 branches stuck in dirt. His cricket field, any flat spot he could clear in the jungle. The most incredible part, he got so good with fruit that when he finally held a real cricket ball years later, it felt like a superpower upgrade. All those hours throwing irregularly shaped mangoes had made his aim deadly accurate. Every morning at 5 a.m., while other kids slept, Shamar was out there bowling fruit at sticks. Every evening after helping his family, he was back out there, rain or shine, sick or healthy. It didn't matter, he was upset. Plot twist. The skills he learned with fruit in bottles would one day destroy the world's best batsmen. Those irregular bounces, the unpredictable movement, it was like training on the hardest level first, then switching to easy mode. But first, reality had to hit him like a falling tree. At 15, fantasy crashed into reality like a falling tree. And speaking of falling trees, that became Shamar's job. Welcome to the logging industry, where one mistake means you're dead. Picture this nightmare. You're a teenager with a chainsaw bigger than you are, cutting down trees older than your great-grandfather. If you calculate wrong, 500 pounds of wood comes crashing down on your head. Game over. But here's what's insane. Even in the middle of deadly jungle work, Shamar couldn't stop thinking about cricket. During lunch breaks, he'd find sticks and practice his bowling action. His covers thought the heat was getting to him. After logging came construction in the big city, carrying cement bags that weighed 110 pounds, 1 hour a day. His back screamed, his hands bled, but his mind was somewhere else, on a cricket field he'd never seen. Bowling to batsmen he'd only heard about on the radio. Then came the worst job of all. Night security guard. Imagine standing alone in empty buildings for 12 hours, watching nothing happen. Your only companions are silence and your own thoughts. Most people would go crazy. Shamar used it as mental training. Every night he'd practice his bowling action in empty hallway. He'd visualize bowling to famous batsmen, Security cameras probably caught him throwing imaginary cricket balls at 3 a.m. If anyone saw the footage, they'd think he'd lost his mind. Here's the kicker. Those awful jobs were preparing him for something he couldn't see yet. The physical strength from construction, the mental toughness from logging, the discipline from security work. It was all building toward a moment that would change everything. But he needed one person to believe in him first. Every superhero story has a moment when someone believes when nobody else will. For Shamar, that someone was a woman whose name you'll never see in headlines. But without her there would be no story. She was pregnant. Money was tight. The sensible thing was for Shamar to keep his steady security job. But one night she looked at him and said the words that changed cricket history. Quit your job. Try cricket full-time. I'll support you. Think about how crazy this was. A pregnant woman telling her boyfriend to quit his only source of income to chase a dream everyone else had called impossible. That's not just love. That's believing in someone more than they believe in themselves. The next morning Shamar walked into his boss's office and quit. His family was furious. His friends thought he'd lost his mind. But for the first time in years, he felt truly alive. Here's what nobody knew. This woman had been watching Shamar's face light up every time cricket came on the radio. She saw something everyone else missed. This wasn't just a hobby for him. It was who he was meant to be. That decision made in a tiny rented room with a leaky roof would eventually be worth millions of dollars and change West Indies cricket forever. But at the time, it just looked like two young people making a terrible mistake. Ready for this? In 18 months, Shamar went from complete unknown to international cricket star. That's like going from playing guitar in your garage to headlining Madison Square Garden in a year and a half. First, local clubs in Georgetown. His bowling was wild but scary fast. Batsmen either got out or got hurt. There was no middle ground. Word spread quickly. There's this crazy fast bowler who learned cricket with fruit. Then came the big break. The Guyana Amazon Warriors needed net bowlers, basically human bowling machines for the real players to practice against. Shamar got the job. Minimum wage, maximum opportunity. Here's where it gets Hollywood-level dramatic. On his first day bowling to players he'd only heard on radio, Shamar clean bowled a guy who'd played for the West Indies for 10 years. First ball. The nets went silent. Suddenly, everyone was asking, who is this kid? Within months, he was playing for Guyana's first-class team. His debut figures, 6 wickets for 13 runs. In cricket, that's like scoring 50 points in your first NBA game. Impossible numbers that made people check the scorebook twice. The craziest part, he was still so poor he couldn't afford proper cricket shoes. He played his breakthrough match in borrowed boots that were 2 sizes too big. January 2024. Shamar was fixing his neighbor's roof when his ancient phone rang. The voice said, "This is the West Indies cricket team. We want you for the Australia tour." Shamar's first thought, someone's playing a prank. His second thought, holy crap, this is real. The cricket world was shocked. Australia is cricket's final boss. The hardest place to play against the best player. And they were sending a guy who'd played exactly one first-class match. Critics called it desperate. Fans called it stupid. But someone in the West Indies setup saw what others missed. Sometimes you need to shock the system. Here's what nobody expected. The guy they picked as a maybe he'll learn something choice was about to deliver one of cricket history's greatest moments. Adelaide, Australia. January 17, 2024. Shamar Joseph's first ball in international cricket. The batsman, Steve Smith, arguably the best batsman in the world at the time. Picture the scene. 40,000 Australians watching, millions more on TV. A kid from a village with no internet about to bowl to a legend. The pressure could crush diamond. Shamar ran in like he was still bowling at fruit behind his house. No fear, no overthinking, just pure instinct. The ball left his hand at 145 kilometers, pitched perfectly, swung late, and crash. Steve Smith's stumps exploded like fireworks. The crowd went silent. Commentators couldn't speak. Shamar stood frozen, staring at the broken stumps like he couldn't believe it either. First ball, first wicket, best batsman in the world, clean bowled, social media exploded. Who is this guy became the most asked question in cricket. That single delivery turned a nobody into a somebody in 0.5 seconds. But wait, it gets better. That was just the beginning. Second test, Brisbane. The Gaba, Australia's fortress, where they hadn't lost in 30 years. Shamar was having a decent game until disaster struck. Mitchell Starc, bowling at 150 km/h, sent a Yorker straight into Shamar's toe. The sound was sickening, like a hammer hitting an egg. X-rays showed a fracture. The doctor said, "You can't bowl, end of story." Here's where Shamar became legend. With the West Indies needing to defend a small total, he looked at his captain and said, "I can bowl." The medical team freaked out. His teammates were worried, but Shamar's mind was made up. He'd come too far to let a broken bone stop him. What happened next sounds made up. Bowling on one good foot in constant pain, Shamar took 7 wickets for 68 runs, 7 on a broken toe, against Australia. At the Gaba, each wicket was a masterpiece. Yorkers that defied physics, bouncers that terrified batsmen. By the end, even Australian fans were cheering for him. The result, West Indies won at the Gaba for the first time in 27 years, and Shamar Joseph became the first man to bowl on a broken toe and take 7 wickets. Hollywood couldn't write this stuff. December 2023. IPL auction. Shamar sat in a hotel room watching his life change in real time on a laptop with bad Wi-Fi. When Lucknow Supergiants bid Ryan 3 crore, about $360,000. Shamar's brain couldn't process it. For context, his security guard salary was $200 per month. This was 150 years of salary in one contract. The crazy part, he was so broke he was sharing the hotel room with 3 other players. Within 24 hours he could afford to buy the entire hotel. His IPL debut was rough. He bowled one of the worst overs in tournament history. 10 balls, 22 runs, maximum embarrassment. Social media trolls came out in force. But here's why Shamar is different. Instead of hiding, he publicly apologized and promised to do better. That humility in the face of millions of dollars and global fame, that's character you can't teach. Away from cameras, Shamar is still the same humble guy from Barakara. His girlfriend, now fiancée, stays completely out of the spotlight. No interviews, no Instagram, no drama, just quiet support. When he visits home, he doesn't arrive like a conquering hero. He helps fix roofs, plays with village kids, and listens to his grandmother's stories. The millions haven't changed who he is. His first big purchase after securing his family, a cricket development fund for rural kids. He's building proper facilities so other talented kids don't have to wait 20 years for their chance. Kids in his village now practice with real cricket balls instead of fruit. They have actual bats instead of carved wood. And they all have the same dream Shamar once had. Because he proved it's possible. Here's the truth. In today's world, most sports stars are manufactured. Elite coaching from age 5, private schools, professional training, that's the usual path. Shamar Joseph is proof that raw talent and crazy determination can still win. He's the last of a dying breed. The natural athlete who made it purely on ability and heart. His story gives hope to every kid in every forgotten corner of the world. You don't need perfect conditions to achieve greatness. Sometimes the hardest conditions create the strongest people. The numbers don't lie. From fruit cricket to international stardom in 3 years. From $200 a month to millionaire in 18 months. From unknown to global inspiration in one cricket ball. But his biggest dream isn't about personal success. It's about changing cricket in the Caribbean. He wants to build academies where kids from remote villages can get real training, real equipment, and real chances. His goal: make sure the next Shamar Joseph doesn't have to wait 20 years for opportunity. 2025 and beyond. Shamar is locked into West Indies cricket across all formats. IPL teams are fighting for him. The Big Bash League wants him. County cricket is calling. The technical side keeps improving too. His pace is up to 150 km/h. His control is getting scary good. And that natural swing that confused Steve Smith, it's getting more dangerous every match. Injury management is key. The broken toe taught him that careers can end in one ball. Now he trains smarter, recovers better, and listens to his body. The goal is 10 years at the top, not just 2 to 3 brilliant seasons. He's learning to control his pace better, studying video footage of his own bowling, and working with sports scientists to perfect his technique while keeping that raw aggression that makes him special. In a world that often rewards connections over talent, Shamar Joseph is a reminder that merit still matters. His success isn't just personal, it's proof that the system can still work for outsiders. For every kid practicing in difficult conditions, he's living proof that circumstances don't define destiny. For every parent wondering if they should support their child's impossible dream, he's evidence that sometimes impossible dreams come true. The ripple effect is real. Cricket scouts now look harder at remote areas. Coaches are more open to unconventional players. The sport is more inclusive, because one man refused to accept limitations. Former West Indies greats like Ian Bishop call him the beginning of a new era. Even Australian legends like Steve Waugh have praised his fearless approach. He's not just playing cricket, he's changing how the game discovers and develops talent. Every time Shamar Joseph runs into bowl, he carries his village with him. Every wicket is for the people who believed when belief seemed stupid. Every match is proof that dreams don't have expiration dates. His story isn't finished. It's just getting started. The boy who learned cricket from a broken radio is now teaching the world that greatness can come from anywhere. The best part, he's not done yet. The hunger that drove him from fruit cricket to international stardom is still burning. There are more records to break, more barriers to smash, more impossible dreams to make real. He talks about starting a cricket school in rural Guyana, creating a pipeline for kids like him who have talent but no opportunities. He wants to make sure that geographical isolation never again means sporting exile. Next time you see Shamar Joseph on your TV screen, remember you're not just watching a cricket match, you're witnessing the power of refusing to accept limits, the magic of believing in yourself when nobody else will, and the beauty of dreams that simply won't die. The boy from nowhere became the man everyone's talking about, and his story is just beginning. 3 years ago, if you told people that a security guard who learned cricket with fruit would be terrorizing the world's best batsman, they'd have laughed. Today nobody's laughing. They're just trying to figure out how to survive facing Shamar Joseph. Remember this. Your background doesn't determine your future, your circumstances don't define your ceiling, and sometimes the most impossible dreams turn out to be the most inevitable destiny. Don't wait for perfect conditions, don't wait for permission, don't wait for tomorrow. Start today. Start with what you have. Start where you are, because somewhere in a forgotten village, a boy with fruit for cricket balls just proved that anything is possible.